Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us for another one of our streaming safaris. My name is Keeper Kylie and I'm going to be here with two emus, hopefully eventually, but we'll get to them later. In the meantime, I just want to give a huge shout out. Thank you to those who joined us recently. It's so nice being open and having you guys come in. And so that has been a lot of fun. We celebrated World Lion Day this week and that was a blast. We had so many of you guys come in and check us out, so we really appreciated that. And we love seeing you guys come in. It's great. We love meeting you. We know that a lot of you are unable to come in at this time, and that's okay. If you still want to be able to help support the ranch, there's a lot of ways you can do that. You can do your Amazon Smiles donations, or you can donate right here on our Facebook page if you want to donate directly to us. That's a huge help for us as well. Any donation that's comfortable for you. It's a really easy way where even just a few dollars can really help, and we really do appreciate it. Girls! Oh, this is what it sounds like to be ignored by animals. This is the sound of ignorance. Hi! We'll see if they come over. Yeah, so we decided that this week's streaming safari was going to be, if you guys had questions for us, we always love answering your questions. And we don't get to talk about our emus very often. And I happen to think that they are absolutely fantastic. Are you going to come over? Are you being sneaky? If you want to go and film them, I can just talk in the background. They're way cuter than me, it's okay. So these are our emus. We have two ladies. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It sounds like a bongo drum. That is their sounds. They do something called booming. And because these girls are girls, their booming isn't that loud. When a breeding male really wants to get attention, that booming can be heard for quite some distance. Because these guys live in very thickly vegetated areas in Australia. They are very closely related to ostriches. We are told a lot of the time that they're like, oh, when people first come in, they're like, look, ostriches. We do have ostriches. They're next door, but they're not quite the same. You can maybe see Curly in the background there. He's our resident male. Oh, what do we got?
Can they live with ostriches?
Probably. It's going to depend on the individuals and how they are raised. If you raise them all together, they're not really going to want to care too much. They wouldn't naturally find each other out. They live on totally separate areas, and it would depend on the individual characteristics. I honestly would not trust our male ostrich with some of these smaller, more delicate girls. He can be pretty assertive. When he wants to go somewhere, he's going to go, and he does not care if there's anything in the way. So there's that. But they're very closely related. They're what are called ratites, and ratites are flightless birds. So those are your emus, your ostriches, your cassowaries. And one thing I want
Rheas.
to oh yes, and rheas from South America as well. So they're actually found all over the world. She's very interested. Hi, Mama. They like the misters. These girls are actually the where they come from in Australia. They're able to deal with quite a bit. That's adorable. Of different weather patterns. So, and they actually don't mind the water as well. Actually, you can find them in like marshy areas quite a bit. What do we got?
Are their feathers soft like an ostrich? I got an ostrich feather from an ostrich farm.
Yes and no. They are similar, but actually pretty different. They're similar in the fact that yes, they're feathers, but feathers can do a lot of fun things when you don't have to use them to fly. When you have to use them to fly, they have to have these really, really specific structures. And these guys don't have the same ones. So they are relatively soft and fuzzy on some parts of it. But as you go farther up the shaft, they actually get pretty, pretty spiky. And they kind of remind me of, I don't know, maybe hedgehog. Not like the really spiky ones, but they just kind of look like that, where they're actually very wily.
I was trying to look and see if we have emu feathers nearby.
I don't think I have any feathers. But their feathers are unique in the fact that they actually have two that come out of one follicle. So each one of her feathers, which guys, you can tell, they look like fur. Because their feathers are going to be used for thermoregulation, for protecting them from the elements. That's going to be more important than flying. Now one thing you can kind of see, she's dozing right there. How cute is that? She doesn't mind us hanging out with her. The feathers up by their head are actually very, very soft. They're more of that downy feather where they're very, very fluffy, and again used for protection from the elements, thermoregulation, body temperature control. And they do have some bare skin up there because these guys are foraging quite a bit, so having less feathers around their head when they maybe need to go and peck down in the mud or anything like that will help them to go and protect from getting super muddy and crusty up there. These girls really love the mud. Their faces are pretty constantly covered in mud because they're as you can see, she's hanging out right over here with it. We're just chilling out. Yeah, so yeah, during this, guys, by all means, please keep asking those questions. What do we got?
Do you want to talk about how we're going to have a poll pretty soon to see if we need to change the streaming safari days to accommodate everybody?
Yes, so that is a big thing with us. Guys, we're going through some changes here. We know that school's starting back up. Things are starting to go and change a little bit. So what was working for us over the summertime is having you guys join us on weekdays. We were doing our streaming safaris Wednesdays and Fridays. We want to hear from you on whether or not you think that those days are going to work for you. What do you think? Should we move to a weekend day for our streaming safari? Right now we're kind of planning on once a week, but we're going to see because again we do have to go and we're getting into some of our seasons when it comes to things like our whoa, goodness, you're very helpful, lady.
We found the water bottle.
Yeah. So things like our field trips and all of those. So we want to know what's going to work for you guys. So keep an eye on that poll. That'll be coming onto Facebook, and I'm more than happy to go and listen to some of your suggestions.
We should have that poll up later today.
Yep, later.
Or early tomorrow, one or the other. And then what enrichments do you create for the emus?
Emus are kind of fun birds. They can be pretty ridiculous. So these guys are typically a little bit on the scaredy cat side. So you can't go and give them anything too big or anything like that, but they're still on the curious side. So things like brightly colored balls are a really good one. They're going to want to go up to them. Things that maybe wiggle a little bit. But honestly, for them, it typically is for water enrichment. These guys love mud, so we go and we give them different mud puddles throughout the day. We dug out this well earlier, and that was a big hit for them, so we've been keeping this up all summer. But we can go and do a lot of different things. Foraging is always really fun. You can go and give them a big pool, like a little kiddie pool, and put like strips of paper in there for them to go and forage through. Those are some naturalistic behaviors that you can go and extrapolate on as well. So that's all really fun, but you can't scare them, and that's kind of the hard part. So great questions, you guys. By all means, keep them coming. One of these things over here that's also really fantastic is emu feet, because they are so unique with how they need to get around. These guys are not going to fly. They need to get around on those feet of theirs. So I don't know if we can see. Can you see her feet from over there? They are very scaly. Remember, guys, these are living dinosaurs. They have 3 toes, and take a look at those big claws. They can absolutely go and defend themselves over there. Yes, what do we got?
Do they have a favorite treat?
Not for these guys. They honestly don't go after too much. However, grapes are usually a fun one. Oh, water bottles are super fun right now, guys. They really just like their pellets. If we change their diets too much, they get really finicky with it. So they like their food and they're okay with that. But sometimes we can give them grapes. Sometimes we can give them mealworms, things like that. They are really strict kind of foragers, so they're going to eat quite a variety of things naturally. But our girls are definitely older, and they are pretty set in their ways.
And we really like my water bottle.
Yeah, we're so helpful. As she's walking around, if you can kind of see those big footsteps, that's actually, we were talking about that these guys are kind of living dinosaurs. Fun fact, it was their feet that were used for the models for Jurassic Park.
Not our emus, but the emu in general.
In general, not these guys. But yeah, the emu as a whole. It was emu feet that was the model for a lot of the dinosaur feet in the original Jurassic Park films. So pretty fun.
And of course, we're not going to walk.
No, of course, now we're not going to walk. No. Oh my goodness. These guys can run pretty substantially. They can run about as fast as a car, over 30 miles per hour if they have to. That's really going to be their main defense. You can see how their feathers, though, are these kind of mottled browns and tans, because really, they're not going to want to fight. They're going to want to run away if they have to, but best bet is to just stay as hidden as possible, too. So that's another reason for their camouflage. Their feathers look like that is excellent camouflage. Yes.
Are their eggs similar in size to ostriches?
No.
I think it's about half. I think it's like 8 to 10 chicken eggs for emu eggs.
And what's really interesting, so ostriches actually have one of the highest ratios of body size to eggs. They are actually on the smallest end of body to egg ratio. So they have actually pretty small eggs compared to their body. That being said, emu eggs are definitely smaller than ostriches, but they are actually bigger compared to the emu body frame. Because these guys are probably, how much would you estimate that, 50 pounds?
A little bit more than 50 pounds, maybe
Yeah.
closer to 100, because
Yeah.
bulldog weighs about 100 pounds.
Right, so about the size of a dog. Nothing too crazy, but our full-pound ostriches can get up to 300 pounds. But ostrich eggs and emu eggs look very different. Ostrich eggs are bright white and shiny and more rounded. Emu eggs look exactly like an avocado, both in shape and color. They have these beautiful bright green eggs. If you guys ever come in here we have them, you can actually purchase ours because they're girls. They're not going to go and have any baby emus. They're 2 girls. So we can actually just go and hollow out the eggs and you guys can take them home with you.
All right, we got 2 questions. And this is from, oh my goodness, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Casa. And she said, I'm sorry if you already answered this, but I just got on and she's wondering where all the animals you have came from. Are they rescues? And then we also have one more from Rexy. Are male emus different colors? I know ostriches males are black and females are brown. So you can answer in any order you would like.
So let's go with the looks real quick. They do look a little bit different. Usually they have typically more blue up on the face and their coloration is a tad darker. I honestly don't know though if that changes with the season. I know some of the birds will go and get more bright or more, different when it comes closer to breeding season. I don't know if that is the same with emus. I'll have to go and look that up. Thank you for stumping me. You know me. I like that. But yeah, let's talk about where our animals came from. It's a pretty good mix. A lot of our birds were either rescues or owner surrenders. I think these girls actually were owner surrenders. Yes. So these girls were owner surrenders, meaning they used to go and live with somebody, but she was unable to take care of them. I think she moved.
Yep.
Yep, she moved, and so she was unable to take them with her. So they needed a place to live, and because they are older too, it's you don't want to change things too much. So also traveling long distance with them can be really stressful. So we don't mind taking them in, but a lot of our lions were actually born and raised here as well. So we have some that were born here and some that joined us when they needed different living situations.
Yeah, actually, previous owners actually do occasionally come by every once in a blue moon to just stop by and say hello to the emus.
Aw, that's lovely. Yeah, that's one of the things where you have to take just the health of the animals into consideration and realize that that kind of traveling. Do we know how old these girls are off the top of your head? I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't know off the top of my head.
There's a lot of animals here, guys. We get our dates mixed up, but I do know that they're older. So that's one of the things. Oh, we're talking. So much talking. So that's something that is definitely into consideration. So awesome. Good question. Yes, what do we got? Any other questions?
I was going to say, you talked about the age. Do you want to talk about how long they live?
I can't remember off the top of my head now because now I want to say 40, but I
think that's a little tight because I think the ostriches are closer to 40. Emus are closer to the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, 20s and 30s for these guys. There's a lot of birds, guys. I get my facts and figures mixed up. So yeah, these guys could definitely live a pretty long time, especially, you consider the age of birds. Not as long as parrots, though. Parrots are definitely longer lived than these guys. It's not unusual to actually see some of your bigger animals have shorter lifespans in some cases, so that's not entirely unusual. These guys also are a little bit different. They're pretty solitary overall, so they actually have a pretty tough life out in their natural environment. In fact, when they do lay eggs, the females just go and lay them on the ground, and that's the extent of that. The females will actually end up having very little to do with the eggs. Hopefully there's the male that she hopefully made those eggs with is still somewhere close by. It is his job to then go and raise them and protect the babies. So they're actually really good dads. Moms, meh, not so much. What do we got?
Are they the only bird species where the kind of roles, I would guess you would say, kind of change for birds? Like, how does their structure work for different birds?
So, yeah, for different birds, it really depends. That is actually something that is an entire class I had to take back in college was it was all on ornithology, and oh my gosh, a good part of that was how different reproductive structures work and how the roles are. Within the rat type world, it's not unusual for males to really have a real dominant role. You take the ostriches, for example. They will go and lay their eggs all together because it's safer there. When you think about Africa compared to where these guys are from in Australia, Africa is a lot more wide open. It's a lot easier to see anything. It's wide open grasslands you can see for a very, very long distance. So what the ostriches will do is 5 or 6 females usually will end up laying their eggs all in one communal nest, and the female eggs will lay or the female will lay on the eggs during the day. They kind of all take roles, and that's why their coloration plays such a big role. The females will sit on the eggs during the day, and they have this brown dusty feathers that will blend into the brown dust around them. That's where the old wives' tale that an ostrich buries their head in the sand when they're scared of something. It's actually not true. What ostriches do is they lay their head flat and they just lay there, and dust will eventually blow over their head, and that actually helps keep them safe. Males are black, however, and they go and they lay on the eggs at night. So they're going to go and protect them. When the eggs hatch, though, Dad takes the role for that. It's not unusual to see a poor bedraggled male with these 50 squawking babies running after him. So that's one of the things where they're actually very good fathers. For the emus, Dad takes the role pretty seriously. Females don't really stick around in the area to wouldn't necessarily know that those are her babies and wouldn't really participate much once they're hatched, especially. What do we got?
Got 2 more questions. Does the male emu feed the babies like birds, like other birds? And when I was looking up, she couldn't find anything about it. And then at an ostrich farm, it was during mating season, and it makes them have a...
So you'll notice a lot of them will get pretty vibrant around the beak and the shin area on them. I'm pretty sure that does change for emus as well. For sure on the head, they get very dark around the beak area, and they get their blue really stands out. I don't know if their legs change. I've never seen that. Baby rat-type emus are actually pretty good at foraging pretty much right out of the egg. They don't need to have any things like crop milk. That is when the parrots will go and hold food in their gullet and in their crop, which is a flap right over here. You guys, you're normally so friendly.
It's because we're not doing a streaming safari craft and it's windy, so we have to have something else.
Yep. And of course, you're not going to come up and check us out today. Usually they're pretty good at hanging out with us. They were skittish at first, so it takes them a long time. They're getting it. So yes, like flamingos have crop milk, pigeons have crop milk. That is actually just, again, like other birds, it's regurgitated food that has been essentially melted down with stomach acid. Sounds delicious. And then fed in a more liquefied form. The babies here are usually pretty good at able to foraging. However, they don't need to go and forage quite yet. They are going to be living on the yolk for the egg for about the first week. And then, but the parents will go and, do they regurge? I don't think I've never seen the ostriches or emus regurge in any way. I don't know if they can. They have weird stomachs.
I think the ostriches might have, maybe.
Yeah.
But, follow-up question, do they have a tooth on their beak to hatch?
They do. That's pretty standard. And these guys actually still have a tooth on their beak. A lot of times the hatching tooth will end up kind of just not getting used. Once it's used, the beak will not further develop it, so it will eventually shed off as the beak continues to grow layers and reform itself. It's hard to see. You might be able to see it with her a little bit, but the front of their beak actually does have a full-on hook that comes down over their lower beak. It's kind of almost used as a finger too. They can use it to pick up grains of food a lot easier because these guys will go and eat seeds, bugs, nuts, things like that, small fruits. So, all right, guys, donations. So that is a huge help to be able to go tag those friends, get involved. And we want to go and thank everyone. Again, if you do want to go and leave a donation, that is a really sweet way to help. We know that every donation comes from the heart right now because of what's going on. So we really do do appreciate it. It does make a huge help. Again, you can donate right here on our Facebook page or by going to lionhabitatranch.org. Or you can also just keep up those Amazon Smiles accounts, guys. That's a really easy one. But remember, Amazon Smiles only work through a browser. You cannot use the app on your phone and get the discount. If you guys have questions about that, I'm happy to go and show you how to go and set up a home screen link on an iPhone. I don't know how to do it on anything else, but I can show you on an iPhone. And that way, every time you go and click Amazon button, it just goes to the browser and you can go and still get your donations in. I think that about covers it. Thank you so much, everyone. You guys were absolutely fantastic. Stick around. Don't forget to vote on whether you want to keep seeing the streaming safaris on a weekday or a weekend. And we're going to go and help make that possible for you guys because you guys have been such amazing supporters. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you again later. Bye, everyone.